Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about reasons why you did not hear a call back after the interview. Let's start with something that you probably know is you don't do your homework. You don't get to know the company. You don't get to know the job. I have explained before things not to say at the interview that can cause a perception that you didn't do your homework. It's based on what things you're asking. For example, how long have your company been established? This is something that you could have researched yourself and found out. Do your homework next time. The next thing is you probably don't know who are you going to be interviewing with. When you are scheduled for an interview, you do need to ask, who am I going to be interviewed with? Please provide the name. Then you go on LinkedIn and find out about them, who they are, what they are, how long have they been in a company. When you are at the interview and you have a small ice break, you have a conversation before they even get into questions, you can just let them know that you know stuff about them because you did the research, you did your homework, and they are going to be very impressed that you are kind of like a smart person who is serious and committed to the job. Another thing is you did not send a thank you email after the interview. Let me know in the comments if you are the one who don't send thank you emails. It is very important that you do send a thank you email. You have 24 hours time in order to do it. Not after that. After that, it's no longer relevant. It's no longer showing you are impressive. So within 24 hours, you should send a thank you email. If you don't know how to write a thank you email, I have a link in the description. I have some career letters that you can download and you can use a template. There's everything that you need for interview email, for job application email, for a thank you email, resignation letter emails. It's all in there. You just download it, use the template, and you are good to go. The next one is very common. You did not prepare meaningful questions. And when I say questions is when the interviewer at the end of the interview asks you, do you have any questions for me? Your questions are not meaningful. I have 200 questions for you to pick and choose any question that you want. They are very meaningful, very relevant, and you are going to impress them with your question. You can choose more than one. You can choose up to 5. You can choose up to even 4. It doesn't have to be just one if that's the case, but they have to be meaningful. I have done some videos right here what questions you can use. Especially there are 8 questions that HR or recruiters are really looking forward to answer, and they want the job seekers to ask them. Go ahead and check it out. It's right here. 8 questions recruiters want you to ask at the interview, and just ask. You are going to impress them with this. The next thing, you did not mesh well with the interviewer. So your personality doesn't really match the job. It's kind of like did not give the vibe for the interviewer to actually feel good about you, to say, yes, you are the right candidate. So he didn't get that vibe from you, even though you're doing everything right. And the next one is you came across as uninterested. I don't know if you know, but if you are desperate, it will show you are desperate. If you are bored, it will show you are bored. You have to show some interest, some politeness, have eye contact, listen, respond to a conversation, build a relationship with the interviewer. You have to show as you are interested because you need the job. And maybe you were interested, but your body didn't show you were interested. Maybe you were yawning, maybe you were looking elsewhere or on your phone, or maybe you were slouching and looking depressed. Your body gesture can show how you are feeling. Even though you might want to look interested, but you sound uninterested. The next one is you asked about salary, benefits, time off during the initial interview. Now, I know they ask you, do you have any questions for me? This is one of the questions you don't ask. This is one of the questions you try to avoid. This could be one of the reasons why you don't get a call back, because it is perceived as you are there for the money, even though it's true. You are there for the money, but they need loyal people. They need people who care about their jobs, people who are even going to work off hours, such as on weekends, at nights, evenings. Sometimes happens that you are starting off the interview on the wrong foot. It happens. You have a bad day, things doesn't go well since the morning. Interview is really like not right. You feel like you're not saying the right thing. You feel like you're in the wrong place. You feel like you want to get out of the interview. You feel like you want to reschedule everything. And it could be you had a rough day and this is just shown at the interview. So you want to be a little bit more conscientious. So if you feel you start off at the wrong foot your day, you can call in advance and say, I'm sorry, today I'm not able to come. Can we reschedule it for tomorrow or for a different day? Start like that instead of just going because you have to. If you already feel that things go wrong during your day, then it's better to reschedule it.
Other than that, I'm fine. So what would your previous employer say about you? I mean, we had our differences, but at the end of the day, we got along, But I don't think he will say anything bad about me. I don't think so. All
right, well, do you have any questions for me at this time?
I think I'm fine. No, you know what? I do have a question in regards to my vacation time, my sick time, and my pay. Will you be able to answer that for me?
Well, those are questions that Human Resources handle, and they handle that later on down the line. Any other questions for me?
Not really. I mean, will you guys be calling me back anytime soon, or?
Next thing is you spoke poorly about your previous employers, about your previous colleagues. This is something that, it sounds like they might be interested, but no one cares. No one cares. What it sounds like, you're slandering. You're saying bad reputation about your old boss, and this is kind of like shown that you might even talk about them in that way, and they don't need that. They don't need people like that. Imagine you have a friend, imagine you're conversing with a stranger and you are trying to build a relationship, and that stranger is going to talk about their friend who did this and that to them, and who is really bad, and who is really like abusive and everything else, and they're talking all kinds of stuff about this person. Now, you don't want to be around that person because that person has already a negative energy. That person has already shown that is a gossiper, slanderer, has nothing positive to say, and the next thing you know, you are the next on the conversation with that person who is going to be with a stranger. So you don't want your name to be out there ruined, and same thing, the companies, they don't want that to be their name to be out there ruined, or especially you might post on social media, how bad is this company? So they don't need this. They need people who are positive, not negative. The reason you might not hear a call back is because you pretend you know something and you don't. You want to perceive like you know everything, but you don't. So it's okay to say, I don't know. So when they ask you a question that is behavioral, if you don't know what I mean, I have a video right here explaining behavioral interviews questions. So sometimes they're gonna give you a scenario and they're gonna ask you, what will you do in this situation? It's okay to say, I don't know. Instead of pretending you wanna say, yes, you know, and you're gonna look silly, you're gonna look foolish. You're going to make mistakes at the job. So it's better to admit you don't know and you seek for help.
Can I say something? I'm the type of person, if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I'm gonna tell you that I don't know. But I bet you what, I know how to find the answer, and I will find the answer.
The reason why you were not called after the interview is because you did not meet the needs of the position. So, for example, let's say you're applying for a managerial position and you want the job. You probably have the degree, you probably have the qualifications, but for some reason you don't have that skill. Now it sounds like easy, you're gonna manage people, you're gonna tell them what to do, but it takes more than that. It takes really more than that. So as a manager, for example, you will need to know how to make decisions properly. If there is a problem, who to call. If there is a problem, what to do. For example, staff are out. You have 5 staff are out and you need 10, but you have 4. What do you do in that situation? Staff is taking off unannounced. What are you going to do to them? Are you going to give them a write-up? Are you going to have HR handle it? Are you going to reprimand them? What are you going to do? Things happen. Things happen. Sometimes it's a stressful moment and you need to know what to do. I know people who are stressed, they just exploded everybody, and then they ask for forgiveness. This is not a skill that they have. Leadership skill is something that you show and you know what to do. You speak at the language that they understand. When I say they, is the employees and the people above you, and you know how to say it, what to say, and how you come up with a solution yourself without anybody's help. So things like that, it's a skill that you need. So sometimes the reason you're not going to be called after the interview is because you did not meet the needs of the position for the company. I just gave an example of a manager. It could be anything. Let me know in the comments what position you want to apply and you've been rejected. I might even give you an interview myself and we can do a mock-up interview and see where you are actually falling off and what is the problem. I can give you feedback. I can ask you some questions. You can tell me some questions you've been asked and you want me to respond to them. We can do back and forth like a role play. You can interview me or I can interview you, and then you see the responses, how it's going to be. So if you are interested in a mock-up interview, let me know in the comments. If you're still watching this video and you are kind of like thinking, what is next out there, the reasons of why you are not called after the interview, give me a like and keep watching. Now, let's say the interviewer is asking you, what is your salary expectation? That is when you say your salary expectations. You don't talk about benefits, you don't talk about time off, you talk about your salary expectations. So let's say, happened to me several times with my experience. People would ask me, what is your salary expectations? I would tell them. They would say, your salary expectation is too high. They are giving you that feedback, and some will say, okay, we'll think about it. And some will say, is your salary expectation negotiable? And then we'll move forward and say, yes, depends how much is negotiable. How much are you thinking of? What is the number? Give me a number and let's see if we can negotiate. So this is a possibility. Not everybody will tell you if your salary expectation is too high. But if you really want to know if it's too high, for example, if they ask you what is your salary expectations, you are saying 60,000. I'm giving a random number, 60,000, and they will tell you, okay. And you're asking, is it something that meets your budget, or you have a window that is open for negotiation? That means you're willing to negotiate. So they're not going to think, oh, this is your salary expectations, we're going to end it there. I hear people, especially from LinkedIn, telling me that the reason they think that they are not called for an interview because they are overqualified. But it could be also you're underqualified. It doesn't make sense for people to call you for an interview and tell you you're overqualified. It doesn't really make sense. But let's go over of what makes them think you are overqualified during the interview.
Who are you?
My name is Andy Sachs. I recently graduated from Northwestern University.
And what are you doing here?
Well, I think I could do a good job as your assistant. And, yeah, I came to New York to be a journalist and sent letters out everywhere and then finally got a call from Elias Clark and met with Sherry up at Human Resources. And basically, it's this or Auto Universe.
So you don't read Runway?
No?
And before today, you had never heard of me?
No.
And you have no style or sense of fashion?
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
I was editor-in-chief of the Daily Northwestern. I also won a national competition for college journalists with my series on the Janitors Union, which exposed the
That's all.
exploitation of... Yeah, okay. You're right. I don't fit in here. I am not skinny or glamorous, and I don't know that much about fashion, but I'm smart. I learn fast, and I will work
All right,
very
I've got the
hard.
exclusive on the Cavalli for...
So they have your resume, you meet the qualifications, you meet everything else. Their job description says they need somebody who has experience for 3 years. 3 years of experience. You might have probably 13 years of experience, 20 years of experience, or even 30 years of experience. They don't need that. They want somebody with 3 years of experience. The reason is because let's say you do have 20 years of experience, their budget is to pay $40,000. You might ask for $80,000. They don't have that budget. You are overqualified for that. The reason they ask for 3 years experience because they have a budget for somebody who has 3 years of experience and who is not going to ask for extra money from what they can afford. That's what makes you overqualified. Now, underqualified, let's say, for example, you are looking for a job who has 3 years of experience with a bachelor's degree, right? In New York, you have to have a degree. So if you have only a GED or only a high school diploma or only an associate degree, most of the time it's going to be considered as underqualified. Even though you have maybe 6 years of experience, maybe 7 years of experience, it's underqualified because you don't have the expectations. Now, in New York, I'm gonna give you a secret of why you need to have a degree. In New York, there are companies who are whether private sector or public sectors who really need to get a license from the government in order to operate their work. Now, because the government gives them the license, they are inspecting these companies to make sure they operate legally. In order for them to have somebody employed in their company, they need to have a degree. That's the government a must. That's their part of a reason why they give a license to the employer, because they need to hire people who went to college. So if you are going to tell me I have a GED and I need to get a job, then it's time for you to go to college. Without college, it's very hard to find a job. Even though you have associate degree, it's like high school diploma. And not many companies are going to hire you even if you have a college degree, which is associate degree. So if you have associate degree, go back to college and get your bachelor's degree. Let's go back to the employer who is asking for 3 years of experience, right? Let's say you have 3 years of experience and now you have 3 master's degree. That calls you as overqualified as well, even though you have 3 years of experience. they ask for one master's degree or one bachelor's degree. Let's say they ask 3 years of experience in bachelor's degree, but you have a master's degree. You are overqualified. The reason you are overqualified because you are going to ask for more money because you're overqualified. You have a master's degree, but they have a budget to pay for a bachelor degree employee. So that is why you are overqualified. And now you understand when you are underqualified, when you don't have the degree. Now, the last reason why you were not called after the interview is because they decided, when I say they, the recruiters, HR managers, or upper managers decided that the position should be eliminated. Even though they did interviews, even though they think that they found the right candidates, but then they did a quarterly budget or yearly budget and they decided, you know what, we are going to eliminate this position and somebody else will take an additional responsibility to do the job. So it could be not you, it could be they just decided the position is no longer going to exist. That's it for today. Let me know in the comments what challenges you are facing at your career. I would love to hear it and create another video just for you. I'll see you next time.